Okay, so before we move on to the next phase of this project, I want to take a brief moment to review a for loop, and I'm going to show you some new tricks that you can use and a little bit more applied math to a for loop so we can utilize it for our evil purposes. Okay? So I've got a new sketch here. It's a basic sketch. I've got my header information. I've got my setup. I've opened the port. I've written one shell of a function here called demo1, and I make a call to it in the loop. So whatever I write is going to run in the loop. So let's do it. Let's create a for loop. And you've done this now a couple times and did a worksheet on it. So for, and I'm going to create a variable in here, and I'll call it I, and I'm going to set it equal to 0. Okay? And all I want to do is make a counter that goes up to 1 to 100, or 0 to 100. So I'm going to say I is less than or equal to 100. And I'll keep it super simple. I'm just going to go I++, close the parentheses, open a brace, hit enter. And of course it gives me the matched closed brace. And I'm going to tidy my code so we indent it. And voila. Okay? We've got a beautiful framework here for our for function. So let's do something. Let's just make it serial print ln I. We're going to keep it real simple for the moment. Okay? And then to keep my computer from crashing, I'm going to put in a delay of 100 milliseconds. Good. Tidy my code and upload it. Okay? So I hope you realize this is simply going to count from 0 to 100. And there you go. See, it's going up to 100. And then it repeats. Alright? Simple. 0 to 100, and then it resets, starts over again, gets recreated, sets it to 0, starts over. But I want it to go up and down. Alright? So the easiest way to do that is simply to, well, copy my for loop. And instead of starting it at 0, let's start it at 100. And let's make it go down to 0. So that means I need to be a greater than. And instead of going up by 1, I need to go down by 1. Alright? So both of these for loops are both inside the demo1. So it's going to run this till it's completed, and it's going to run that until it's completed. So if I load it, we should see it go up to 100 and then go down to 0. Alright. And there's 100. Oh, wait, I got 200. That's kind of a bummer. Let's see what happens when I go to 0. And I got 2 zeros. So take a look. So I got 2 zeros, and I got 2 100s. Well, that's not very cool. I want it to go smooth, right? Well, that implies, remember, this started at 0, and it went to 100. But then, once it got to 100, I immediately jumped down here and recreated it at 100. So I probably really ought to do that at 99, right? Because we're already at 100. So let's make it start again at 99. And I don't really want it to go all the way down to 0. Let's just make it go until it's greater than 0. Okay, so the last thing it's going to be is 1. That's going to make this statement false, which means it's going to go down to here, which means it's going to come back up here when called from the loop, which is going to reset it at 0. So we're always still going to see our 0 and our 100, but we're only going to see one instance of it. So we got our 0, and then we go, whoops, let me turn on the auto scroll. We go on up to 100, and we did not get 2 copies of 100. Cool? All right. So now let's take this, and let me show you something else kind of cool. Notice I didn't concatenate this. I've kept it just nothing but numbers, because I actually want to show you something else you can do that's kind of cool. I'm going to show you what that looks like graphically. So if you go to Tools, you can pull up Serial Plotter. And here's the serial plotter, and you can see that what we've got is those numbers being graphically displayed, and it's going to go up to 100 and back down. Okay? And of course that process is going to repeat itself. Alright, so what I want to do now is I want to do that with more than one variable at one time. And I actually want to make it a little bit funky. I want one to go up while the other goes down. And so to do that, I'm going to create another function. I'll call it demo2. Seems logical. And I'll call demo2. And I'll comment this one out. So only demo2 runs. And I want to do another variable. Let's make it outside of this. Let's make a variable. We'll call it y. All right. So I want y to go in the opposite direction of x. I'm sorry, of I. Well, it's actually not really hard to do. All we need to do is if I starts at 0 and goes to 100, and I want y to go from 100 down to 0. So I can simply make y equal to 100 minus I. Okay? And then let's print this out. Now in this case, I think I will concatenate this string. So to do that, I actually have to cast it. Oops. Put that on the other side of there. I have to cast my integer variable here as a string, and then I need to comma separate it. All right. All right. And let's just actually do one at a time, and then we'll come back and fix it. So now, if I look at this, and I'm loading demo2, you'll see that as I goes up, y goes down. And if we graph that, plot it, there you go. And you can see that I have these crisscrossing patterns. But it's still not exactly what I want, because all it's doing is sort of resetting. So you see the blue is just always going in a diagonal, and the red is always going in a diagonal. I really want it to go up and down and up and down in smooth motions. So to do that, what I need to do is kind of do what I did in the first time. I need to copy and paste this, and notice I didn't have to recreate y. Okay, I don't have to recreate it. I'm just going to leave it outside of these for loops, and I'm going to make I go from 99, and we want to go. I can actually just copy this, can't I? Okay, so we want it to go from 99 till it's greater than 0 down by 1. And then let's think. Well, we don't even have to change this, because now what we're going to have happen is that when I is 99, y is going to be 1. So it's going to automatically fix everything for us, and we don't have to do anything to our y statement. So if I load this, you can see that we hopefully will get that nice blue goes up, flips, and comes down. We don't have that jerkiness in the middle, and we've got nice smooth transitions back and forth. So our goal now is to take advantage of this. And why did that happen? There we go. And we want to take our LED right here and make it fade in and out with color in the same sort of way that we're making this data move. So with that, I'm going to end this video and we'll start anew by manipulating this light with this new technique. And I'll see you in just a moment.